Run.
Dude, alright, dude.
What do you mean?
Tonight, we look at 6 disturbing camping encounters caught on camera. Real moments, real danger. Don't forget to subscribe for more terrifying footage like this. Let's begin. On February 2nd, 2025, Leslie Mansfield, an avid outdoor explorer, uploaded a video recounting her attempt at a solo camping trip in an unfamiliar location. What began as a quiet night under the stars quickly unraveled into a nerve-wracking encounter that forced her to leave her campsite behind and seek safety. Leslie arrived at her destination later than she had planned, with daylight already fading. She parked her car in a remote area and made her way through a trail marked by warning signs about diseased tree removal. The taped-off path suggested the place had been cleared of visitors, though it was still accessible to those willing to ignore the signs, like she did.
Bridleway diversion route. Well, I'm not on a horse, so am I allowed? Bridleway closed. We're felling the diseased and dying ash trees along this bridleway. Oh my goodness, I've only just come here once. I just need to just skirt around the edge of this. Great. That means I'll be all alone, except if other naughty people who are willing to go through tape come down here. Ooh.
Despite the desolate feel of the area, she pressed on and pitched her tent at a spot overlooking a valley. The surroundings were tranquil but isolating. The nearest sign of civilization was a house roughly 500 meters away, and as night fell, she found herself truly alone. That peace was quickly disturbed when she noticed a lone figure walking below in the valley, a flashlight flickering through the dark. Instinctively, she turned off all lights, hoping not to be noticed. Initially, she assumed the person was passing through. But instead of continuing forward, the figure stopped, then started moving back in the direction of her tent. Feeling suddenly exposed, Leslie reacted quickly. She grabbed only the essentials, her phone, keys, and jacket, and fled into the woods to take cover among the trees.
Don't know if you can see that, but there's somebody walking down the bottom of the valley there with a torch. I'm sure they're fine and innocent, but I've turned all my lights off till they've walked by. That person with the torch going along, I was about to set the camera up, and I was about to say, oh, I'm on a hilltop and I can see they're about to leave the valley, so that's good. They came back and sort of towards the tent, and I just thought, oh shit. The camera is what I was worried about. First time I've used this Insta360, the first ever camera. It's funny how I was packing that, wanting to make sure that was okay. And my hip belt I wear, so it's got my mobile and keys, so I just got my rucksack on and left the tent and hid down in the trees to make sure they went, because I also wanted to check what they were doing rather than just, me leaving. And eventually they left. I don't know, I was spooked by then. So I found a different spot. So I'll show you this spot, just about 10 minutes around the corner.
Hidden and alert, she waited for the figure to leave. Time passed slowly until they finally walked away. Though she considered returning to her tent, the sense of vulnerability lingered. Instead, she chose to relocate to another spot about 10 minutes away, one that was out of sight from where she had originally camped. At the second location, she attempted to regain a sense of calm. The sky had cleared, and the alignment of Venus, Jupiter, and Mars above brought a moment of awe. It gave her temporary reassurance, though the events earlier had left their mark. Still determined to salvage the night, she tried to settle in. Unfortunately, the terrain was uneven and uncomfortable, making rest nearly impossible. Though her spirit was strong, the physical discomfort and lingering tension made it difficult to truly relax.
Well, what's it to do? I'm 10 minutes away, but I feel safe because it's just a different tucked away corner. I'm just looking down on the ridgeway. I don't know, I didn't want to give up. I didn't want to go back to the car and give up. I know that everyone says, oh, follow your instincts and do that. When I saw this, I thought, no, I'm going to be here, at least for the evening. I think it's so rough and bumpy here, I'm not sure I can sleep. So I'm going to have dinner, practice with the camera, and see how I feel when it comes to bedtime. Okay, I'll get the food on. And Mars, which I've never really known about before, but Mars, it's so red. That's over in the east. So I feel safe and secure to stay now that I've seen those planets and had a little drinky. But I'm in an incredibly difficult pitch. It's completely lumpy and sideways. I just didn't want to go back to the car, so I was all stubborn. But it's awful.
Despite everything, she hesitated to admit defeat. She tried to enjoy a simple meal and experiment with her camera. But deep down, the night's earlier encounter gnawed at her, making her feel anything but secure. Eventually, she made the decision to leave. As she walked back to her car, questions lingered. Was the person just another camper? Had they seen her and intentionally returned? Or was it all an unfortunate coincidence? The situation raises unsettling possibilities. In remote areas like this, even a seemingly innocent encounter can feel threatening. The figure might have simply been exploring, unaware of her presence, or they could have seen her and changed course for reasons unknown. The lack of clarity only heightens the fear. In these kinds of isolated settings, your instinct becomes your best defense. What would you have done in her place? Was this just a misunderstanding, or did Leslie narrowly avoid something more sinister? Sometimes it's not what we see, but what we almost see, that stays with us the longest. Hold on a sec. If you're enjoying this so far, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Let's continue. A sudden shift in weather turned an ordinary day into a life-threatening situation for Zach and Allie, a couple living in their van. What began as a routine check of the radar quickly escalated into a desperate attempt to survive a powerful tornado, forcing them to make a split-second decision that may have saved their lives. Early in the day, meteorologists issued tornado watches beginning around 10 a.m., warning of potentially dangerous storms across the region. While Zach and Ali remained aware of the forecast, the initial outlook suggested the worst would likely bypass their location. However, by early afternoon, that forecast took a drastic turn. Around 1 p.m., alerts grew more alarming. A massive line of storms spanning over 80 miles was now heading directly for their area. As they tracked the radar, the weather system intensified. Soon they realized they were in the projected path of a confirmed and dangerous tornado.
The tornado watch remains in effect until 6 p.m. Central Standard Time for southwestern Louisiana and southeastern Texas.
Having a panic attack.
Tore up a building.
You're just gonna follow me if something goes wrong, right? Yeah? Seriously, babe.
I'm gonna program this radio, put it on the NOAA weather, and then we can send it over to the neighbor's camper. That way he has one, because he doesn't have a weather radio.
Oregon, 10 miles southwest.
Lawville, where?
Oregon? Is that what he just said? I have no idea.
Orange. Here, we're in Orange. We literally are in Orange right now.
Yeah, but there's not a storm over us. Orange is also really wide. Yeah, it's like way left western.
Okay. Okay, hold on. It's getting smaller.
Yeah, that's.
Oh, it went above us.
Yeah, that storm is no.
Their situation was especially precarious. Their van, which served as their home, offered no real protection. Experts consistently warn that vehicles and mobile homes are among the most unsafe places during tornadoes, as strong winds can easily lift and toss them. Facing increasing panic, the couple debated whether to leave. But the only available road led directly into the path of the oncoming storm. With no safe shelter nearby and little time to react, they made a critical decision. They would abandon the van and seek refuge in a ditch. Though far from ideal, ditches are sometimes recommended as emergency shelter options during tornadoes due to their low elevation, which reduces the chance of being swept away. As warning sirens blared and the sky darkened into a menacing green, they hurried to take cover, holding tightly to their dogs and bracing against the violent winds. Debris flew through the air, and the sheer force of the storm made it nearly impossible to stay grounded. The couple endured the terrifying noise and chaos until, finally, the storm passed. An eerie silence followed. They cautiously emerged from the ditch to survey the damage. The scene was devastating. Uprooted trees, power lines downed, and mobile homes flipped or destroyed. Vehicles in the area had been crushed or thrown, but somehow, miraculously, their van remained untouched. Relieved, they returned to their vehicle to check on their belongings. But their relief turned to sorrow as they realized the toll the storm had taken on others. One person in a nearby trailer had died, and several others had sustained serious injuries. A hotel they had briefly considered sheltering in had been hit directly. It was a chilling confirmation that their choice to stay near the van, but outside of it, may have been the only reason they survived. The aftermath served as a sobering reminder of how quickly nature can turn deadly, and how one decision can mean the difference between survival and tragedy.
Yeah, I see that. Holy cow. It probably doesn't even look as bad on videos. It doesn't in real life.
When all that stuff started hitting the window, I grabbed my bag. I said, I'm gonna get ready to dive.
I don't know where this piece came from. Yeah. Alright. Yeah, because it looked like it went right through that way. You hear them sirens?
I'm gonna have to clean up a bit in here. It's a bit, there's like debris everywhere in the van right this minute. I mean, I'm just happy we didn't like tip over and go crazy, because we could have tipped over. It could have been a lot worse, but there is debris all inside the van, and we still are under tornado watch, so I'm like really shaky.
That's the worst of it though.
Oh,
Hey, do you see all that tin?
what the hell was that?
Tin.
Experts often emphasize that preparation and quick thinking are key in extreme weather events. In this case, staying mobile but aware allowed Zach and Allie to avoid making a fatal move. Had they attempted to drive, they could have been caught in the tornado's path with nowhere to go. Their decision to abandon the van and take shelter, although risky, ultimately followed best practices for last resort tornado survival. What would you have done in their position? Could you make a life-altering decision in under a minute with everything on the line? Sometimes all that separates life and death is a ditch, a moment, and the instinct to act. Lucas Brunel, a seasoned cyclist and outdoor enthusiast, set off on a bush camping expedition through the wild terrain of Martha's Vineyard. What began as a simple outing of riding, swimming, and camping quickly took a dark turn when he discovered something hidden deep in the woods, something he was likely never meant to see.
Well, this has been amazing, staying at my parents' and riding around Martha's Vineyard, and we're going to venture out because today is Kevin's last day here. See the cliffs and some paths and some cold water swimming on a very clean beach, cleanest on the East Coast probably, up at Aquina. And we're going to do some bush camping after that, and then in the morning we're going to do some rock diving at another beach. So anyway,
Yeah, it's gonna be a cold ass night. I'm already kind of cold right now, but apparently tonight it's gonna be like 60 degrees or something, so yeah.
yeah, cold, yeah, but we're used to those temperatures and camping and all kinds of weird stuff. So anyway, let the journey begin.
The trip started off like many of Lucas's other adventures. He and his friends spent the day cycling along coastal paths, diving into cold, clear waters, and navigating the island's rugged trails. Their plan included visiting the iconic Gay Head Cliffs before heading into a more remote area to spend the night camping. As evening approached, they entered a dense forest in search of a quiet place to set up camp. With the sun quickly disappearing, they found a secluded hilltop clearing that seemed perfect for the night. The group got to work setting up tents and gathering supplies, unaware that something unsettling lay just beyond the edge of their chosen campsite. While exploring nearby, Lucas came across a small clearing that immediately raised alarm. The ground had been disturbed. Symbols were etched into the dirt, and strange objects, some appearing charred, were scattered about. At first, he thought it might have been a prank or the remnants of a Halloween-themed setup. but the longer he examined it, the clearer it became that this was no joke. The arrangement of the symbols was deliberate. Some of the materials looked fresh, as if the site had been used not long ago.
Yeah. Wonder what your parents must think of you doing all this crazy shit. Dude, you're fucking with me. Alright. Alright. I am not fucking camping anymore. Dude, alright, dude. I know I said fuck with the satanic shit, but it's a fucking joke. I'm not fucking serious, man. Dude, I don't want to camp. I don't want to camp anymore.
The discovery unsettled Lucas, but things quickly got worse. Soon after, faint movements and noises in the surrounding woods disrupted the silence. At first, it was just the rustling of leaves, easy to dismiss. But then came a low, murmuring sound that seemed to echo through the trees. Though he couldn't see anyone, the presence felt real.
Dude, alright, dude. I know I said the satanic shit, but it's a I'm not serious, man. Dude, I don't want to camp. I don't want to camp anymore.
Yeah, but there's nothing we can.
Dude,
this doesn't have to like. We can camp fine. There's nothing out here to get you.
yeah, then what the was that noise, huh?
Just take a look.
Dude, you need to calm your tits. I know this is my last night.
How about I take it down a notch?
Dude.
And we enjoy the night, you know?
Yeah, enjoy the night with... Dude, Lucas. All right, yo, chill. You're joking, right? You're joking.
No, just chill. Just take it down a notch. There's nothing out here, like, to get you. I mean, there's wood.
You're a man.
As unease grew, Lucas returned to the group and urged them to pack up. The rest of the campers were skeptical at first, but the atmosphere had clearly shifted. Not willing to take any chances, they grabbed their essentials, abandoned their site, and began heading back toward their bikes. The decision to leave was unanimous. Whatever they had found, none of them wanted to spend the night anywhere near it. As they made their way out of the forest, the tension remained high. Though nothing followed them, the feeling of being watched lingered until they were safely away. Some speculate that the group may have stumbled upon an active ritual site, possibly used for occult purposes. The precision of the symbols and freshness of the setup suggest it hadn't been there long. Others argue it might have been a prank by previous campers, designed to scare anyone who passed through. But the sounds Lucas reported hearing raise more questions than answers. Was this just an elaborate setup meant to frighten? Or did Lucas and his friends interrupt something far more serious? And if someone had been watching, what might have happened if they hadn't left when they did? Known for their travel vlogs and adventurous road trips, the YouTube channel Travel Beans often shares uplifting stories of exploration. But one particular journey, uploaded on March 3, 2024, turned into a devastating experience that abruptly ended what was supposed to be the beginning of a dream road trip across the U.S. Emma and Alex had recently bought an old camper van in America. Despite its age, they were charmed by its vintage 1980s look and lovingly named it Frank. They had planned to live in the van as they traveled the country, documenting their experiences along the way. After weeks of preparation, they were nearly ready to hit the road.
Was at that point.
So at this point, I knew there was smoke, and I guess I just assumed it was coming from the engine and kind of making its way into the cab.
Yeah, so I was shouting at Emma to get out of the van instantly. That image of the van being on fire and Emma inside will probably stay in my mind for a very long time. It's something that keeps getting replayed. But this is when, so I had my phone on me, so started to record. So this is maybe 10 seconds after Emma got out of the van.
What have we got in there?
This man was an absolute hero. He was just there trying his hardest to put this out, probably for way longer than he should have done, putting himself in danger, really. Like, the amount of smoke, it was terrifying.
It then got to the point where he couldn't fight the fire anymore, and he just turned and ran. And at this point for us, we then did the same to try and find some
While parked at a rest area for routine maintenance, Emma stayed inside the van as Alex stepped out. Moments later, smoke began to rise from the vehicle. At first, it seemed like a minor issue, possibly engine-related, but the smoke thickened rapidly, turning black. Alex, now realizing the danger, shouted for Emma to get out. As she exited the van, the fire suddenly intensified. Flames began spreading through the interior, consuming their belongings and months of preparation in a matter of seconds. A nearby bystander rushed in with a fire extinguisher and made a valiant effort to control the blaze, risking his own safety in the process. But the flames grew too quickly. Eventually, even he had to retreat. Emma and Alex moved to safety, watching helplessly as their home on wheels was overtaken by the fire.
As soon as I felt that we were actually safe and far enough away from the van, I just was hit by this wave of emotion and I just cried my eyes out.
We're safe.
Has anybody called 911?
No, we just ran out. Someone came with a fire extinguisher, and then
So this just happened?
just happened. We were driving it
Okay,
2 minutes ago.
Call 911.
Yeah, please, thank you. Oh God.
It was really surreal at that point, because up until that point, sort of, you know, especially when the guy was, you know, fighting the fire with that extinguisher and everything, you had this like sense of like, okay, what can we do? How can we fix this? But at that point, we just relinquished all sense of control over the situation. All we could do was just be spectators in this.
The fire department turned up extremely quickly within a few minutes of it going up.
They were amazing.
Yeah, so good, but unfortunately the fire was just so quick.
Emergency services were called, and other travelers at the rest stop offered assistance, some lending their phones, others simply offering support. By the time firefighters arrived, the van was completely engulfed. They worked swiftly to contain the flames, but it was too late. Everything inside was lost. The emotional weight of the situation hit hardest once the danger had passed. Emma broke down, overwhelmed by the realization that their dream trip had ended before it even began. The van wasn't just a mode of transportation. It was supposed to be their freedom, their lifestyle, and a symbol of adventure. The cause of the fire remains unknown, though they suspect an electrical fault tied to the old wiring. Looking back, they expressed how lucky they were that Emma had escaped in time, just a few seconds later, and the outcome might have been far worse. Despite the loss, both Emma and Alex shared gratitude for the strangers and emergency responders who stepped in without hesitation. Fires in older vehicles, especially retrofitted campers, are not uncommon. Many of these vans were never designed for long-term living, and outdated electrical systems can quickly become hazards if not properly inspected. The Travel Beans experience is a chilling reminder of how even a simple stop can spiral into disaster without warning. Would you know what to do if your home on wheels suddenly caught fire? Could an overlooked wire or small fix be all it takes to change everything? Sometimes the biggest dangers come not from the road ahead, but from within the vehicle itself. On July 8, 2021, the YouTube channel Exploring Intuition uploaded a video detailing their nighttime investigation of the TNT area near Point Pleasant, West Virginia, an infamous location tied to the legend of the Mothman. Once a World War II ordnance facility, the area is now an overgrown wildlife preserve, dotted with decaying bunkers and known for decades of paranormal reports. Led by the channel's creator, the team ventured into the forest after dark, hoping to document the strange occurrences reported in the area. From the outset, there was an immediate sense of unease. The forest was unnaturally silent, and the air carried a damp, stagnant scent. As they hiked deeper into the woods, a low, roaring sound echoed in the distance, something they couldn't identify.
Mothman is a frog.
There's a frog right there if you can see them, folks. Boy, you wouldn't starve to death if he was living out here, that's for sure. So this looks like it could be another entrance to a igloo, but I don't think. It's just part of a game trail that goes back there. Probably deer. Something big. It's either a deer or a bear, so we'll just hope for deer. But a bit of it goes over on this side as well. Nah, we're good. We just saw some kind of a critter run across us up here, low to the ground.
Probably a skunk.
No, it wasn't a skunk. It looked like maybe, there it is right there. I'll tell you what, this is definitely a nature preserve because this place is alive. There's stuff moving around all around us. Okay, off to our right over here is where these office buildings. No, this is the trail that goes up towards the office buildings. Oh, that is a bunker. Wow. Boy, you just come right up on them. This one is accessible. So we're going to check out our first bunker of the night.
Throw something in there first and scare something whatever out.
Yeah.
They continued their exploration along the trails, eventually stumbling upon their first bunker. These structures, built during wartime to store explosives, had long since been abandoned, now reclaimed by nature and covered in graffiti and moss. As they approached, movement in the surrounding brush caught their attention. Initially assuming it to be common wildlife, they soon heard heavy footfalls and branches snapping, too loud for a small animal. Then came the sound of powerful wings beating through the treetops. Startled, the group scanned the sky with their flashlights but saw nothing. The noise was eerily similar to descriptions from past Mothman sightings. A large winged creature with glowing red eyes, often seen just before disaster strikes.
Could have been lightning bugs, but we have our first eye shine. I saw it too, actually, so I do have to concur that, don't know that I could call them red or orange, but there were definitely something up there that looked like they lasted a little longer than your typical lightning bug.
Probably a deer.
Well, I hope it's a deer.
I do.
Well, I guess we'll find out. There's Peter Cottontail hopping down the bunny trail.
I'm seeing him out. Makes me not feel
He is not afraid of us at all.
well.
There he goes off into the woods. He probably didn't want to jump into those weeds up there.
Yeah, and seeing him out like that means there's no predators out.
That is true. Right there he is. It's Mothman, folks. He's coming right out of the bushes. What kind of noise does Mothman make? I mean, he has a proboscis, or is that the right terminology? Proboscis? I don't know that Mothman can...
There's the geese from your goose poop.
No, that's not geese.
Rocks?
Those are rocks or some sort of... those are lily pads. Giant lily pads.
Holy crap.
Yeah, huge. What was that? Oh, I just totally saw something. I hope I got it on camera. That was not a lightning bug. I saw something fly up into the air right there, right in front of us. And it looked like a half crescent moon, about 20 feet off the ground.
As they pushed forward, they noticed small lights flickering deep in the forest. At first, they considered fireflies, but the erratic movement and strange color shifts didn't match. These lights moved in ways that didn't follow any natural pattern. Things escalated when they decided to investigate further using an electronic voice phenomena, EVP device. To their surprise, the device picked up faint whispers, voices responding directly to their questions. One of the responses seemed to urge them to leave. Then came the howling. A deep, guttural noise rang out from within the forest, unlike anything they had heard before. It was too deep to be a coyote and didn't match any familiar wildlife. The sound intensified, drawing closer. The group knew they had to make a decision.
Shelter, and obviously at night they would be able to tell something coming from a long distance. And we've had some weird smells, but you know, believe what you will, but I just don't think thousands of people are lying or just mistaken bears. I gotta turn my camera on, Mary. That thing.
There it is.
There it is. Holy cow, that thing is following us as we leave. It's right there, folks. I mean, that thing we've been seeing the whole time is shadowing us 50 yards away from us. And we said when we left that, what if it followed us out? And it is totally following us out. I mean, what kind of animal does that? A predator would do that. Like a dog or something would have come up on us, you know, barking or something like that. Whatever that is, definitely wants to stay. As soon as we turn our lights back on, it hides again. All right, let's just keep going. Every 50 yards or so, we'll turn and look behind us, but it's totally following us out. And there it is, it's following us out. Whatever, it's going side to side on the path.
As they made their way back toward the trailhead, they became aware that something, or someone, was following them. Every time they turned off their lights, movement resumed. When they shone their flashlights behind them, the path would fall silent again. Whatever it was remained just out of view, tracking them from a distance. Before exiting the forest, they paused briefly, only to hear more rustling just feet away. When they turned their lights toward the sound, nothing could be seen. But later, upon reviewing the footage, they noticed dark shapes moving in the background and strange noises not heard during the actual recording. Many speculate that the TNT area serves as a hotspot for cryptid activity, especially Mothman sightings dating back to the 1960s. Skeptics argue that environmental sounds, wildlife, and fear in isolated locations can create the illusion of paranormal events. However, the combination of unexplained lights, audible voices, and shadow figures captured on camera continues to fuel belief that something unusual lingers in those woods. Was this encounter simply a case of nerves heightened by folklore, or did the team come dangerously close to something truly unexplainable? The legends of Mothman live on, and after this night, the explorers won't be returning anytime soon. Uploaded in February, this video follows a solo camper who set out into the wilderness expecting a quiet, peaceful escape from modern life. With his bivvy tent pitched and campfire gear ready, he thought he was in for a relaxing night of solitude. But as darkness fell, an unexpected encounter would change the tone of his trip entirely.
Did you hear that? That was an owl. Hopefully we're going to hear some owls tonight. That was cool. Wonder where it is.
Don't know why I didn't spot this before. There was a little tree stump I should have used, and I'm using that now. And it's actually balancing a lot better with it being on top of the tree stump, so I'm using it here now. So that's sizzling away now.
So this is cooking quite well, to be fair. It's browning up a little bit. Smells good. Almost there with this one. So it is almost there, but I should have brought some extra fuel, I think, for next time, because it is almost running out. So not doing too good. Look at this. So this is my food tonight.
It doesn't look very appetizing. It's just scrambled egg and bacon.
The evening began like many other solo outings. He cooked a simple dinner, bacon and eggs, over a compact stove, commenting on the quiet atmosphere and the sounds of nearby wildlife. As he ate, he appreciated the stillness, noting the owl calls echoing through the trees. It was the kind of isolation he had been looking for. After dinner, he took a short walk with a lantern to test how dark the woods truly were. The trees cast long shadows that seemed to move with him. It was eerie, but manageable. Once he returned to camp, he zipped himself into his bivvy tent and settled in for the night. But that sense of security wouldn't last.
Turn around and somebody's sleeping in the tent behind me. Hello? I told you it's bumping it. Oh, come here, boys, together. Yeah, but I don't want the guy to feel threatened at all, do you know what I mean? Yeah, leave him to it, mate, let's go. He's got a body cut, look, he's got a shelf on there, look. What do you mean? It's way up there, look on the tree, that's just look like that. You're right. Oh, sorry, mate. We just stumbled across you, mate, hi, man.
No, it's alright, no worries. Tell you what, if you go down that way, there's like a bit of a dig.
Is that? Yeah, like a bit of a crater.
Just keep going.
A bright light suddenly shone through the fabric of his tent, followed by distant voices growing louder. A group of young men had entered the area, their flashlights scanning the woods, eventually landing on his tent. The camper froze, trying to stay silent and observe from within. The group didn't appear hostile, but their unexpected presence in the dead of night was unnerving. They paused near an old circular brick structure not far from his position. One of them realized they weren't alone and apologized before they moved on, their voices gradually fading into the distance. Still, the encounter left the camper deeply unsettled. What had once felt like a safe, secluded space now felt exposed. He lay awake, listening for any returning footsteps. To make matters worse, moisture began building inside his bivvy from condensation. Water droplets formed above him, dripping intermittently onto his gear. The damp and unease combined to rob him of sleep.
And I had that issue last night, and with it being a trespass tent as well, I've read reviews online, and apparently it's really bad for getting like loads of condensation on top of the walls, and on the sides of the tent, so on the ceiling of the tent. So it's not the best tent, I'd say. I mean, for around £50 you get what you pay for, I guess. But yeah, it was just on top of the ceiling here, dripping down on me, and I'd move around in my sleeping bag and I'd just get soaked. I can already feel it now, like on my hands, just like water, like condensation. It's not good. It's quite an uncomfortable feeling, to be fair. But what a beautiful morning it is. Got the birds chirping. I could hear owls last night. I saw an owl last night, which was really cool. That was awesome. And also, to be honest, the lads were fine. They were very apologetic when they came through, and I don't think they had any bad intentions, and they were sorry that they disturbed me. So I don't think they were bad people. I think they were just trying to find somewhere fun. They're probably young lads in their early 20s, just trying to have a bit of fun in the woods at 11 in the night. Yeah, we all have our hobbies, I guess.
Eventually, morning came. The forest, now bathed in soft daylight, seemed harmless again. Birds chirped, and the tension of the night lifted. He stepped out of the tent, noting the tent's poor performance in handling moisture, but otherwise thankful for the clear weather. Reflecting on the previous night, he admitted the group of strangers seemed harmless, likely just a group of young men exploring the woods late at night. They had been polite, even apologetic. Still, the experience had rattled him. In such isolation, the unknown becomes far more threatening, even when it turns out to be benign. While nothing paranormal occurred, the psychological tension was very real. In unfamiliar, isolated locations, even mundane events, like an unexpected group passing by, can feel dangerous. This highlights how vulnerable solo campers are, especially when visibility is low and shelter is minimal. What if the group hadn't been friendly? What if they hadn't noticed him at all? Or worse, if they had and chosen not to leave? In the wilderness, uncertainty is often the most unsettling part. Would you camp alone after a night like that? That's all for tonight's video. Which encounter gave you chills? Let us know in the comments below. Got your own experience? We want to hear it. And whatever you do, don't miss what's coming next.